And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, as we say here on IBM TV, because we are global. Today is Spiritual Saturday, and we have with us, of course, our lovely and beautiful Coach Kumar. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Coach. Namaste, as we would normally say. Namaste. We also have joining us from Hong Kong, Rakesh. Rakesh, hello.
Hello, namaste.
Namaste.
How are things going for you?
Good, good. Sort of approaching the end of my packing.
Whoa, that's got to be an uplifting moment, right?
Yes, but the 3% left now.
It's that's a lot of work to plan to move, because you're not moving across the city, or you're moving across the world, but you're like uplifting, flying. So share with us where you're going.
Going to New Zealand, my home. My property is there, and returning to it, and little sad because I'm going to leave my wife behind for 1 year, but happy because it's my home. My garden is out there, and my roses. The tenant didn't look after my roses, and roses are high maintenance. So, don't want to bore you.
That's part of the burdens and challenges we deal every day that kind of burden our spirits a little bit. And that's one of the reasons why I like Spiritual Saturdays. We can kind of just, wow, you know what, just not being able to tend to our own garden sometimes, and knowing that it's going to be a challenge to get it back up to par. That's kind of taking away but you got something to look forward to. You're going to go, and I will admit, roses are high maintenance. They're not my favorite to maintain. They and my problem is, how they're, thorns and everything. The deers love them. Like, I can get a gorgeous, healthy, wonderful bush, vibrant, and go out and overnight a deer will eat it down to nothing. And yeah.
But what fun you actually have deer. So nice.
Right.
We don't, but we have a few hedgehogs.
Hedgehogs, do they eat rose bushes?
No. They're very harmless. They don't do anything.
The tending a garden is refreshing, but to me, it's very spiritual, right? I have a cross stitch. Maybe I'll bring it in here one day. Is my garden is my heaven, right? It is, but that's what we do spiritually, right? If we're doing our what we need to be doing, we're gardening for ourselves, right, Coach Kumar?
Yeah, that's very true. When you do gardening, it's not only for your physical presence; it also affects you spiritually or mentally, because you know how you're nurturing. Like, as you nurture your own baby, you're nurturing a plant. And with that
Yes.
plant, as it grows, you get happy, you get excited, you know how important grounding is. You look after that, oh, are the leaves still green, or they're turning yellow, so you go and give them fertilizer, you water them. So it becomes a part of your life. It's not only that it makes your home look beautiful, it is more that it makes your mind also see things beautifully, and it makes you a better person. So, and today is World Mental Health Day, 10th of October. So, and I'm so glad that we all are here again, like talking about all these things. This year, what I was reading that the theme of World Mental Health Day, for which WHO has decided, is to increase the budget for mental health. And here also we are talking about investment in terms of our time, in terms of our resources with our garden. So if, for example, if you think your mind is a garden and your thoughts are the plants, what sort of thoughts would you like to harvest and plant in there? As Tish says, planting the good seeds. So increase your budget also to invest in your head garden.
That's yes,
Very true. Very
exactly. A
true.
head garden. I like that. And you know, we have a show like that follows this called Planting the Seed. But it's not just planting, it's the maintenance. Just like we talked about, the roses are can be such high maintenance, but wow, what a return on investment. Our
Yes.
bodies, our minds, you know, we don't invest enough in them. Every day what we do is we stress them out. We
Yeah.
maybe dehydrate them, don't feed them properly, and don't feed them the goodness that they need, the fertilizers that they need to mature and grow. How, like you said, it's fun to watch. Like when you see that flower, you know, I get excited when I see the bud. Don't you, Rakesh?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then
My apple tree is still there, apricot tree is there, lemon tree is still there.
When I invited there, Rakesh sir, when can I visit?
You're always welcome, anytime.
okay, because there's nothing more beautiful, I think, than walking through somebody else's garden too, right? To see what they would plant, how they would plant it. I enjoy visiting other gardens. I learn from other gardens. And you know, I learned something, Rakesh. I couldn't wait to kind of share today. I was reading about bees, right? And how they play a big part because this is important in our mind too. What other elements play a part in developing our minds and souls
Sure,
is
sure.
bees. I didn't know this, but they actually cut the plant and it causes it to bloom more.
So kind of pruning.
They do exactly, and I didn't understand that until last month when I was reading about it, and I couldn't wait to one day have this moment to share because we got to do the same thing to us, right? We have to be open to the different elements that cause us to bloom, right, and bloom healthy and spiritually, and this is what I like about this show, and what we can talk because we can talk open, right? Other people have these problems too, right? Or issues or concerns, and you know, right now we're still dealing with the pandemic, and like you know, Rakesh, you're trying to get back to your home, and to do that, you're going to have to kind of leave your wife for a year, and you're going to have to sustain happiness. You're going to have to sustain financially all of the things that you're used to doing together you're going to have to do individually. But you know, right? You got that future foresight of you know what's
Yes.
going to happen. You got that plan in place. And Coach Kumar, I mean, how do we maintain? I mean, that year is a long time, right? So we got to have friendships. We got to have plans in place. You're going to have a garden to go fix, so that's going to keep you busy.
Yes, that's going to keep me busy. And, she likes lavender. So I'm going, I had lavender earlier, but that's gone. So it's not a high maintenance plant for some reason. I don't know how, because tenants don't really respect your garden. So it just vanished. So I'm going to replant my lavender and yeah, I've got a lot of plants for my garden.
You know, lavender, though you say it's not high maintenance, it's not high maintenance for a gardener. Okay. But I think for people who are not accustomed to it, it does need some TLC. And something I learned about lavender, and again, it took years of killing it, is that it loves calcium. Like it truly thrives. So if you're good at growing lavender, you probably already kind of naturally know and understand the purpose and needs of it. It's also to me a good complementary plant to roses.
Yes. My mother loves lavender, and Flo is the three very significant women in my life. My sister, born on 5th of July, Flo on 6th of July, and my mother on the 11th of July. All of them
Oh,
love lavender.
lavender. You know that
So,
that's a peaceful plant too, isn't it, Coach Kumar? That's one of the plants that are. We're talking about all of these peaceful things that help our minds and heart grow. What are some of your recommendations? We can mix like roses and lavender and um, What other things can we mix that make
I'm going to
for?
have jasmine. Jasmine.
Yeah, jasmine is also good. Lavender is good for calming your nerves.
Yeah.
So I have, you can mix lemon and lavender, or maybe lemongrass oil and then lavender together. Jasmine, you can use cinnamon essential oils or peppermint essential oils in your oil lamps, which also soothes down your nerves. It helps reduce your migraine. It cleans your home's energy. So all these essential oils, if you mix them in your in your daily routine, from your
Yeah.
oil lamps to your even lavender tea is too good. Like I love it. When you
Oh,
have the lavender tea or jasmine tea, these are very good ones to have. Like just having your me time with a cup of lavender tea, and your stress is relieved because lavender is known for relieving the tension from your nervous system. So
okay.
that helps in that way. So you can include all these flowers and herbs into your food, into your bathing. You can just use the essential oils in your bathing water, and you can use them, or you can use them into the lotion which you use. Maybe you can make a homemade aloe vera gel, like simple aloe vera gel with all these essential oils, whichever you like. Maybe you can mix it in plain coconut oil, and then you can use it. You can use it in your oil lamp. You can just put the oil, these fragrances soaked stick around your home. So whenever you guys visit India and you come to my home, you'll see all these oil lamps around my house and all these stick holders which has the fragrances in them. And half
Yeah.
of my house smells either like lemongrass or lavender or jasmine.
You know, that's
Florence, my wife is very interested in aromatherapy. So when we do come to India, we will definitely make a trip to. You're in Delhi, aren't you?
Yes, yes, I'm in there.
Delhi. I'll
aromatherapy. You know,
look for the coordinates. Yeah.
aroma can be very like your memory, right? Your memory opens up with aromas. Like when I cooked some cinnamon toast the other day, it took me back to when I was a little girl, right? And I can remember I couldn't wait to get the toast on my plate. Just closing your eyes and smelling something can heal you in many ways, calm you, like we say, lavender, roses, certain, they all have different scents. But I want to know something. You grow lemon tree, right? I've never grown a lemon tree. Do you actually get real lemons?
Yes,
Huge ones,
huge
huge
lemons.
and
Yeah.
lovely lemons. Yeah. Uh,
What,
we normally in India we have lime, which is needs a warmer climate, but the lemon tree grows beautifully in New Zealand, and by the grace of God, the place where I picked it to put it, it turned out to be really nice, and still having a lot of lemons. So
I
and
love.
so I tasted them. They're nice.
Wow, I'm gonna have to try to grow a lemon tree because I didn't know that they would grow well in a cooler climate. I'm growing an avocado tree that I started from seed, and I'm so proud of it because like the first year it grew like this big. It's now taller than me, which is not hard to
Wow.
do. But yeah, and the thing is in the summer I let it go sit outside and absorb all the summer elements, and then I bring it in for the winter. Well, this year it kind of grew a little tall, so I don't know if it's going to fit. But the trunk actually grew too this year, and I'm but it's yet to produce an avocado. Everybody, but what's interesting is I learned how to do it properly, right? So when you take the seed after it starts to root, and again we could do this with our minds too, right? But you put the seed half into the dirt, right? And the other half stays out. Well, ironically, the seed is so strong that it still hasn't rotted after a few years. It's still prominent part of the root base. And watching all of these things in nature helps me understand my own human body and mind. Like you said, the lemons grow big in your tree. Our lemons I see are small, right? But I would love to learn how to grow a big lemon. And I wonder, does it taste sweeter than the ones we have? And everybody goes, "Oh, Kim, a lemon isn't sweet." It can be, right? It's
It
how you,
can be. It can be. If they're nice and ripe, you get them. You get them. Well, they'll always be the citric thing, but it's nice. You can put a little bit of sugar, and it's okay. Um, yeah, the plant barns where we buy the trees from, they give us advice how to look after it, and then there's the internet, of course. So I
oh,
learned from.
you
So
know,
that's what I do. Yeah.
that's what's fun though, is talking about all of these things because it's nurturing, right? And that's what we need to do is we need to constantly be nurturing our minds, our souls, finding elements and practices that are routine because that's what a garden is. A garden is just consistent routine. And then it produces all of this wonderful fruit. And I here's what's bad is this year I didn't get out as much because I'm working the show. That's my garden now. And I went down the other day and I noticed the weeds had just overcome my favorite rosemary bush. My rosemary bush is huge and it was killing it. The weeds got so bad, they were actually killing the bush. I didn't know that the weeds could do that because the bush is pretty strong. But so I had to go in and I took all the weeds out and now the bush is starting to look healthy again. But you gotta be maintaining it, otherwise it will die, right? Just like our bodies, we got to maintain them. Um, and during
And
this,
mine. And minds
what?
too. We've got
What?
to maintain our minds too. A lot of I keep catching myself. Just a few minutes ago, I was grumbling at somebody, and then I said, I have no right to grumble because it's a negative thought, and just like you pull out the weeds, you pull out the negative thoughts. And I'm curious about this lavender tea because do you know how to make it from a lavender, dried lavender, or how do you do it?
Yeah,
I'm really
let's talk
curious.
about some of these.
You, it's very easy, Rakesh. You get it in the market as well. But if you have it at home, you can just dry the flowers, or if
Mm-hmm.
they're and just put the dried flowers into the boiling water and just take it off from the stove, like the live flame. Just
Let
in the
it
boiling
brew.
water, yes, you just have to do that. That's all.
Okay.
Okay,
Otherwise,
I'll give
you
it
get
that.
lavender
Yeah.
teas in the stores as well. They
Okay.
It's the same thing. They just dry the flower and they mix it with some other herbs and give it to you. If you just want to have plain lavender tea, dry the flowers and brew them properly. Not on the
Okay.
live fire, but just on a boiling water.
Boiling water. Okay.
So, how do you actually go about drying plants? A lot of people would not know how to do that, right? And I think there's a technique and art to it because it's just, I've tried sometimes putting them directly in the sun but what is the best way to dry the plant so that you get the most out of them?
So what
I use
we do,
the
yeah,
sun. I don't know anything else, but um,
yeah, that's
Okay.
the best way. Because our country here, especially in India, the sun is the best way to dry all the things. We make pickles in sun, so
yes,
that's the
yes.
easiest source of energy for us. So
It's
we
free.
put a very thin cotton cloth
It
over
is
whatever
very
we are
nice.
drying.
Yeah.
You,
Those
you know,
pickles are really nice.
I will say this. I did learn one thing not to do. I was putting them in Ziploc bags and
Yeah.
then putting them in the sun and it steamed them. So don't do that.
No,
You
so
put
you
it
put it
on
Let
a
in
paper
the
a
moss
towel.
wooden,
dry.
yes, you put it in a wooden tray, maybe not in a
Hmm.
plastic, in a wooden tray, and very thin cotton cloth. Just spread it over it so that the dust doesn't get in, and it will dry it properly.
Okay, I hadn't thought about that. Cotton cloth. Maybe I've got several pillowcases. Maybe I can put them in the pillowcases as well. Um, and these are just ideas. I was thinking too. Even on a cookie sheet, put the cookie sheet into a window sill or something
Yeah,
to spread them out. I loved, and this is not a herb that we talk about much here, but I love dill and I love
still,
basil.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And dill became easy for me for a couple years for whatever reason. It grew really well. And it was easy to do. And what I like about Deal is that if you know what you're doing, which I didn't, I just got lucky, is that the butterflies will chew it down at the end of the summer. That becomes their food. And then it will reroot itself for the winter. And then it comes back in the summer. And so you're kind of doing a double favor to nature with Deal, because the butterflies really love it. Like they that's what they go for. But I learned how to dry it and use it. And I was so proud, wow, because I actually got it down to a science. And what I did is I have a toaster oven, and it's got a top that just sits open. And I would take a tray and put the Deal on it and put it on top of the toaster oven while I was toasting stuff. And it would just, heat it up enough to dry it. Yeah.
A lot of people do that. They put directly the rose petals or any flower petals, whatever they want, directly into the oven or microwave, and that dries it up quickly. But that's not the natural way, and a lot of nutrients and the flavor goes away. So how I try to do it is that put it in a airy room for one day and then put it in the sun for the next day. So it dries properly, and then you can put it in an airtight jar and you can use it for the rest of the year.
Okay. And when we talk about this, then it becomes a reusable product that lasts a long time. Like you can put it in jars, like you said, and you can keep it through the winter. And now you've got your herbs that you can use through the winter. One of the things I like, and I know people think I'm crazy, but I'm so jealous that you have a lemon tree, is I love the peelings, right? I love the scent of a peeling. If you could dry it and keep it through the winter. Actually, people don't know this, but scraping a lemon, like peeling back the lemon peel, if you're feeling nauseous and you smell it, will take that nauseous away.
It's really nice, yes.
It's good to travel with. I knew these women, and when they flew with a lemon. And I thought that's pretty, but you could, take the juice of the lemon and put it in your water. You can peel it. And I thought, wow, that's actually pretty brilliant. But all of these things are things that we can do that are not very expensive, right? Yes. And you've got this resource now through the winter months that we're getting ready to get hit with. Hopefully nobody gets the flu or anything, but this is cold season, flu season. Unfortunately, we're still COVID. And so we need to be building our immunity. We need to be building our spirits up.
Yeah,
and summer in the southern hemisphere.
I'm not trying to be doomed. I'm trying to say let's rebuild what we let's start building our community. I'm just joking. I know. I'm trying. So the thing is that so many people are down spirited right now because we haven't overcome the COVID. If you live in the United States, you're living in this political season that is just downridden. And it's, hard. And it's kind of like a little thing that I've got going on here where they put up signs for elections down the road. And somebody put up a sign and I decided to protect it because they kept tearing it down. It was just an opponent of whoever, right? So I kept putting it up and they kept taking it down. So I put it up in my yard, right? And somebody came and just stole it completely. Like,
oh my God.
So, now my spirit's kind of down. It's like, why would somebody just steal it completely? One, because it wasn't even on the street part. It was in my yard. And so it's the spirit of people, right? It's trying to and so I'm here today to get rebooted. So I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I want to be happy. And we got to take these moments. So, I got both of my feet barefoot and I got them on the ground, just like we've been talking. I'm doing my practices. I spent an hour praying this morning. I try to do that every Saturday morning. I try to take time to just internally reboot, right? Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be religious. Yes, Rakesh?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I have a problem with my life, and just a quick summary. Um, I was born, a theist. I used to be a Hindu, and then I dabbled with Christianity, and then just dumped the whole thing. And I just don't know what to do when I feel like praying.
Well, what, and maybe Coach Kumar can give us that, because to me, a spiritual is more about your mind and the heart, right? And I don't think you have to be a religion based. I left religions a long time ago too, because I just could not comprehend some of the things that they actually do. They say one thing and they actually do others. I mean, the worst wars in our lifetime were religion based. And I have a hard time comprehending that. So I tried to turn to my own self spiritual being, right? The Japanese taught me that God is in you. This is where God is. And I think that's what I learned here, is that if we can reset what's inside us, then we can become better stewards for our community and everything else. But you got to find it inside you first. And
Good.
Coach Kumar gave me or us an exercise last week to write down what we love about ourselves, right? Which can be the hardest thing to do, actually. Um, but I found something that I could write that I loved about what I truly loved about myself, and now that could be something that I continue to watch and monitor, and it's not being egotistical. It's being honest. What do you
Yeah.
really love about? And I
Yeah.
think that's where I start. What do you think, Coach Kumar?
Yes, so praying does not have to be related to any religion. So, for you, Rakesh, that if I say, just if you do not believe in spirituality or any other thing, for just for instance or example, pray to the energy which is keeping you alive.
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
very simple.
Good one.
At least you
That's a
know
good
that
one.
your heart is beating. Your heart is
Yes. Yes.
beating, and you know that something is making it beat.
Yes.
Scientifically, it's an energy, maybe some electrical energy which flows through our body.
Good.
Pray to that electrical energy. So that is
Good.
what Kim is also
Good one.
saying, that the God is inside us. So if you see it physically, right at the center of your chest, it's if you there will be a small piece of your skin color which will be much more lighter than the rest of your body,
Hmm.
which we call the prana kendra in Sanskrit, which means the powerhouse, or the place where the soul
Center.
stays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So just if you know that your body, it's in Sanskrit, and if you go through all a lot
I
of books
understand.
and it has described, yeah. So if something which creates that one electric change in just a lump of a in lump of a muscle lump which makes a human body, so why not to pray to that instead of going to a idol or a creature or a man or a woman to pray? It's
I
better
don't.
to
I don't
nurture
go
a,
into.
yeah.
That's a good
So
one.
it's
I will do that. That is a good one. It's a good thought. Makes sense to me even as a scientist. So, yep. No, that's a good.
yes. So I read it somewhere that you don't think that you are a human who is having a soul. You are a soul who is having a body. So if in
True.
that way also your body is a container, and if you have say a gold ring or a diamond ring, even you take care of the box in which you put that diamond ring in.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
I keep
That's
that way. I keep my ring in a very cute box, and I look at every day and say, oh, I have a diamond ring. So that's how your body is. The life is diamond
true.
for you,
That's
or
true.
whatever
That's
you like. It's not only the diamond or gold or anything. If you like your roses, feel like you are a server to your roses, and if somebody is taking care of what you love, what will you do with that thing? You will take more care
yes.
of that.
Yes.
That's
So
True.
instead
True.
of identifying yourself with a name, identify yourself with a purpose. That what is your purpose you are serving? And that's
True.
why I have come through a new maybe a new saying which was coming into my head, like all night it was coming into my consciousness, and then I wrote it in the early morning. uh, Instead of asking who am I, start asking why am I.
I saw that on your Facebook post. Yes,
Yes,
and
yes.
I did
So
agree with
I
that.
like
Yeah.
that. Why am I?
so your answer to your existence lies in your purpose and not in the physical existence or the physical body you are in.
That's a different way to approach who we are. When you talk about our bodies is that like the container, the box. Um, it makes me think. I always relate things to movies, right? The movie Cocoon, right? On a more scientific level, that we're all some sort of spirit on the inside. Um, if you didn't see the body, we would probably see each other differently, right? We would see each other um, as the spiritual thing, but maybe we would see each other ourselves differently, right? Um, and so I think about that when we do this show. I think about that movie a lot for some reason, uh, because to me, it's more about what's inside us, and if we take care of what's inside us, the outside will eventually take care of it. So finding that will, but why? Ask why. I read the about the word joy. Somebody wrote a really good documentary about the word joy, and the people who actually have it are people who don't have tons of wealth and riches. It's actually the poor people in the world. And this gentleman did a lot of research, and he wrote, and this has stuck with me. He wrote that there are three braids of happiness
Mhm.
that pave the road to joy. It is purpose, finding purpose,
Mhm.
pride, and pleasure. And that has stuck with me for many, many years. That if you find these three things in your life, purpose to me makes a lot of sense, because if you don't have purpose, it's just, but that's a huge spiritual statement. This man searched for years because he wanted to understand why some people had so much joy when they had no wealth, right? And he wanted to understand that. And it's pride, it's purpose. What are your thoughts on that, Coach Kumar?
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I don't know, with a lot of people it happens, but with me, when I am, especially when I'm not feeling happy, and if I look at myself in the mirror, I see someone else that's not me, who is standing in front of the mirror. And then I start talking to, or sometimes one part of my body will stand out, and especially my feet. When I look at my feet when I'm sad, they really look like someone else's, really. And then I start talking to it. Why are you like this? It sometimes it becomes very scary for me also, that why this is happening, but it feels that these are not part of my body. And then I ask, and then metaphorically what happens, that your feet signifies your journey. You walk with your feet. You take a distance. You take a journey by your feet. So when your feet are not happy, they will tell it to you. If you are taking a wrong turn in your life, which is making you unhappy, they will start talking to you. They will tell it to you. So, and when I communicate with my feet, they tell me that which step I am taking wrong in my life, or where I'm going wrong, which is not good for my overall or a long term happiness. Because human body, human pleasures, everything, we know that, okay, oh, one pizza won't hurt me. But yeah, once in a while that's okay. But one pizza every day is gonna hurt me in the long term. Especially staying in a country like India, where the climate and the things which we combine the pizza with, we do not take pizza with wine, we take it with cold drink. So the cheese and the cold drink goes and stays in your stomach for a longer period than it should be. So the body part starts communicating with you. And for making your body happy, you do not need wealth or anything. It's just that the communication, the inputs to your body, which, as we spoke about, inputs could be in different ways: thoughts, foods, digital time, energies, whatever we are taking in, we are storing that into our body. And then I read about some of the researches which says that our cells have their different memory systems. Apart from the brain, our cells do have their own memory system. So, if you have a cut in your body which has given you some sort of pain and trauma, even if you do not get cut there, but if you go in space where you share that thing like a knife or whatever, that body part will start paining, or maybe there will be a different sensation. That happens. You should try doing it if you were cut or you scratch yourself badly, and if you go around that object again, your cells, like that particular part, will be standing out from the rest of your body. So that's how they communicate with you.
So, what you're telling me too is kind of like anything else, and including our garden. We can choose what we feed our minds, right?
Yes.
We can. Am I going to continue feeding something that makes me sad, or am I going to start feeding something that makes me happy every day? Like I can put a picture up every morning, and when I wake up I see that picture and it makes me smile, right? So I can choose to do that, or I can choose to just wake up every day and not see something that makes me smile.
Mhm.
So these are things that just little disciplines that we can do. And why not? Why not make these lavender teas and wake up every morning to smelling something that you like to smell, right? Like I love cinnamon. I wish I could grow cinnamon. I haven't tried yet, but I'm going to. Um, but I love waking up to the smell of cinnamon. There's something about it that just makes me feel happy. I love rosemary. I love like the smell of rosemary, and it makes me hungry for dinner, right? Uh, and you know what? I'm going to recommend throw lemon balm in your garden, because if you want something that requires no maintenance, except that you have to prune it a lot, lemon balm. And I love the oils from lemon balm. The oils from lemon balm are just so naturally feel good, right? They don't feel greasy, right? They just feel naturally good. So, but what we choose what we feed our minds at the end
Yeah.
of the day. Some days we have to listen to things we didn't want to, but we can do like Willie and find that lemon tree and leave it at the tree. Are you going to start doing
Yeah.
that, Rakesh?
That was something which I really liked. In when I was dabbling in Christianity, I had this very wise pastor who has now moved to another city in New Zealand. His name was Malcolm, who had this thing. You say when you come back from work, just hang it on the tree. All the troubles of work, just hang it on the tree. And and what he would do at Christmas time, he would say, when you have a prayer, he would put the Christmas tree up there, and he would say, if you're somebody you want to pray, write that prayer on a piece of paper and hang it on the Christmas tree. So trees, I'm fond of trees because where I grew up in Mumbai, we didn't have many trees because we lived in a flat. But my granny's house had a lot of trees. So I'm really fond of trees. Always, that was my dream house. And now that I've got my own house in New Zealand, to grow as many trees as I can. I'll stop there.
But that's the joy of being able to make those choices, right? And they make you happy. See, you chose to grow a tree because it makes you happy. I think
Yeah.
that's so cool, and it's peaceful. Do you grow any nut trees? Do you have any like
I have an apricot tree, but it hasn't given me any apricots.
Okay.
But it's nice and healthy, so I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'll buy them from the market. But the tree is healthy, and I have a Washington apple tree. I had
Ooh,
an orange tree, but it died suddenly.
aw.
2-3
Orange trees
days. And
are difficult. Orange trees can become disease ridden real fast. I
very
go down to Florida a lot, and it's a lot of work to grow an orange orchard. So they're very difficult. I am going to try a lemon tree though. I'm gonna get it going. Leave my troubles at the tree, like Willie does. I'm gonna get a stress-free tree. But something I want to share with you is I have been part of a situation where there were all cultures on an oil rig. Right, I've been on an oil rig, and during shift change. And I might have shared this story with you, but this was very moving to me to realize you don't have to be in a religion to have that same desire for life and peace and some sort of spiritual faith. It doesn't have to be religious. And so all of these people are from different religions. You have no idea. They're from all over the world, different cultures, different religions, different beliefs. Some are atheists. And the supervisor gets in there, and we're all crammed into the trailer, right? It's a trailer office for shift change. And he says, before we start work and leave work, I'd like to do a prayer. It is non-religious based, not, but you may leave if you like. Not one person left. Okay, these guys do this every day. They pray to live, to see the next day. They pray that they all work together. They're all happy. They all go home and see their families. Not a dry eye in that room when the prayer's over. Okay, nobody sat there and complained, oh, it's not my religion, or that. They all want to live. They all want peace. They all want happiness. Okay, and this unified them, and that changed me in many, many ways. That, okay, you don't have to be religious to have the same prayer. You don't have to be religious to have the same desires. And that changed the way I prayed. It changed the way I did things because it unified. It didn't divide, it unified. And I wish, I didn't think it was right to record the session, but I wish I would have, so I could play it back over and over. But there are some things I think are private and need to be kept that way. But, Coach Kumar, you said that too, that prayers don't have to be, prayers can be universal. They don't have to be, they could be personal.
It can be personal. The same thing, you can pray for yourself, and then you can pray for others. You can pray for basic 4 things, maybe 3 or 4, which I include in all of my prayers is love for self, love for others, peace for self, peace for others, freedom for self, freedom for others, and forgiveness for self and forgiveness for others. If you pray for all these things, and Ho'oponopono, which we played, it's the same thing.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. You are asking for love, forgiveness, peace, happiness, joy for self and for others. And this is a prayer. And even if you do not believe in a religion, and even if you go and read all the books, the original ones, not the edited ones, or which have edited in a way that it has to harm any other human, all the religion and all the book, the basis of all of them is belief, love, joy, happiness, freedom, forgiveness. That's all.
We have.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
We have a lot of Samoan people who live in New Zealand, and not one of them has ever mentioned this Ho'oponopono thing. So I'm going to ask them when I meet them about this, and it's going to be interesting. I think our conversation, because it is something which is a good takeaway from the show. The other one being the idea of praying to the energy that of consciousness that drives you. I'm really, really happy about that, because that was a quandary that I did face for quite a while.
You just got to find your energy. We did this practice, right, of finding that energy within us, and that's science. And to me, there is a lot of science in our faith, right? Science helps establish what we do believe. If it really did happen, then you believe it, right? And it's very hard for scientists like myself or Rakesh or even other people. If you don't have the proof to back it up, it's very hard to believe it. But you can start doing some of these things, and I do them every day. I feel the energy. I try to, when I'm under stress, I feel my fingers to find the pulse, where the pulse is the strongest, to understand what kind of stress I'm living under. And all of these things will help reduce being sick. Those panic feelings that you get, fear, because if you can get control of these things and understand what's going on inside of your own body, I mean, and Rakesh, I think you feel that way too. I think that's why you're kind of like me. You're a little skeptical at times, but you know that there's something here.
I trust that everything has to stand the test of logic. I can accept that there are things still to be discovered. It'd be a very boring place if we knew everything. The mystery always
Yes.
adds that pinch of salt to the sugar. So though I'm a scientist, I know that between consciousness and the brain, that link has not yet been clearly established. So it's going to be some of the one part of the fun of discovery, and even after we discover that, we will find something more to discover.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, go ahead,
So,
sorry.
go. I'm listening.
About this learning new things. Now, what happens is that even when I'm watching a web series, then also I'm finding out something new to learn. And then after watching a series, I just went on internet and I searched that how many active DNAs we have, or what is junk DNA. And I was surprised to know about 75% of our DNA is junk DNA. Like they're dormant, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's just that we don't know.
No, yes, yes, that's what.
Don't assume that junk, that word. If you talk to a geneticist, they will immediately apologize for that terminology. It is incorrect. It is just that we don't know how those pieces of DNA, the gene string. When we see a sequence of amino acids in your DNA, we identify that sequence with a certain function. That sequence is called a genotype, and the function, like brown skin, is called a phenotype. So that's just basic genetics, nothing special. So
No, and I think that's
is where we haven't been able to identify the phenotype for the genotype. So it's not really junk. It is just that we don't know yet.
Yeah, that's what. Like we do not know, so we call it junk in that way. But thank you for correcting me. I will go and read more about it now. So this is how the chain reaction happens. When you get into the knowledge, you get one bit, and then you want to know more about it, then more about it, and then something new keeps coming up. There's no end,
absolutely.
and it's very interesting. So I was telling all these things, like whatever I learned, I shared that with my sister-in-law today. It's her birthday. So, and she was looking at me, and then one day she was saying to me, "Why did you take this gene science as your studies again?" I said, "Don't you think it's too late for me?" She said, "No, no, you can go to US, you can study whatever you want to study. It's not
You
available in
should.
India,
You
but you can
should.
go there and do that." I said, "Yeah, I really want to work on these genes things. These are the things which really fascinates me. That what will happen if I'm able to activate one sort of gene which is not been identified yet, what will happen? Will that affect us in long term, short term, whatever it is?" So it's sort of a chain reaction. If you really want to know about it and get into it, choose one topic and then there's no end to learning.
Oh,
This
And that's
year,
how
the
we keep
Nobel Prize.
exploring.
Yeah, this year the Nobel Prize for biology has gone to two women who worked on CRISPR.
yeah.
CRISPR
Yes,
is a
yes, yes,
genetic
I heard about
technology.
it.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
CRISPR, yeah.
So yeah, and I think CRISPR is where we will find our solution for COVID. But and somebody else on the show also talked about it, but somehow it got lost in all the process.
Yeah, the CRISPR Nobel the Nobel Prize. I mean, what we do need to maybe do a little bit more talk on that because that is a breakthrough and something that I tell people. And actually, even made a statement about it in one of my speeches. Is that everything that we prove today is going to be proven different tomorrow, and that's because we're still very young. Compared to everything in the universe, humans are still very young. We're still learning. We're still experimenting and understanding. And there are so many things. And, one of the things that I know this sounds stupid, but I always tell people, the earth was flat until somebody came and said it wasn't. But somebody said it was, and by God, you had to say it was, right? Because science said it was. So your book said it was, and then somebody came and said it wasn't. Then in my lifetime, Pluto was a planet, then it wasn't. And I'm like, wait a minute. How can you define something as a planet and then you come back and say it isn't? No. And I think the way people define things, I always ask, well, who made that up? Who defined that? Why do they get the right to define something and define that threshold and I don't? It's kind of like who defines the difference between a hill and a mountain, right? Why does 1 foot make a difference as to whether it's considered a mountain or a hill? And I always ask myself, who is the scientist that got the right to put that into a book, right?
There's a society which decided that Pluto is a planetoid, not a planet. So it's just a group of scientists, and we all agree about this. That's all. There's no hard and fast rule. No.
Right, but it just seems so odd to me that, and then one day somebody comes out and it says, no, it's not. Okay, where's your proof? And I have been on that side, okay, where we were doing stuff in technology, because to me, technology is science. And I have to come in and show them why what they define no longer exists as defined. And something that is very funny to me that's coming down the loop, that's been around actually for 100 years, is quantum physics. We all make like it's something new, but it's not.
No, it's been for ages.
It's been around for 100 years, but everybody makes like it's this new technology just coming out. The thing is we're just understanding how, after 100 years, how to really, what can we do with it? And I've sat on committees with people who are like, yeah, we've got the computer, we got this and we got that. And okay, well, how do we use it? Quiet. We still don't know. It's great. It's wonderful. It's quantum. We got the word. It's quantum. All right. We're still defining these things. So I think spiritually is the same thing, right? We're still learning. You can give the definitions to all of these mental diseases you want. I think we still don't understand. Okay. I think we think we want to give everything a label and a definition, but once we do, we complicated it, right? I think what we need to do is what we're doing today, talk, but get back into ourselves. Don't try to figure out somebody else. Try to fix yourself first. Get your habits, get your commitment to yourself, get your routine. And then what you'll find, just like nature, each element takes care of itself. And when it does, the cash flow works, right? Nature works. We're the ones who complicate nature. We're the ones who go in there and mess it up, right?
We are part of nature.
We are part of nature.
Absolutely. We're not different from nature. We are part of, nature. So if you read a certain, there's a Hindu book where there's a god, person who we call a god, I say he's a historical figure, called Krishna. I happen to be my surname also. The point at which he realizes that he is as much part of nature as and not a separate being. That's the point at which he acknowledges that he is God, and everybody is God, and
Exactly.
Which is why he does not participate in one of the biggest wars that happened in India. But anyway, that's just my 2 pennies worth.
Yeah, history, these books, they teach us things. But again, this is what the Japanese believe too. God is you are the God. You take care of you. And this is what I learned is that if we learn just to take care of ourselves, and each of us do that, right? And sometimes we have to help others, but then we're capable of helping others. But if we learn to take care of ourselves and love ourselves, then everything else kind of blooms and grows around that, just like nature, right? The birds take care of their nest. The lions take care of their den. The bears take care of their, they don't always go around taking care of everybody else's and meddling into everybody else's stuff. So humans have that curiosity, I guess. But I think once we've learned to do that, we've solved a huge mystery. Like, like you're talking about looking at all the DNA, right? And there's all this DNA we still don't understand, you know, all this candy in the jar.
Yeah, modern curiosity. Humans like to control. They have the urge to control, and instead,
Exactly.
and God, or maybe that nature has given you that urge to control yourself and not others. But when we get the control and we get to control others in any which way, it gives us our underlying happiness of being in power. So that's also a very contagious thing, that you are in power, you know everything. You know, I read it somewhere, and it says that if something is getting extinct naturally, let it be. But what are we doing? We try to bring them back. I don't know what that, it's this animal called, it's called devil animal. I don't know what the first name is for that, but
Tasmanian
it's,
devil. It's the Tasmanian
yes,
devil. Yes, it's been
yeah,
reintroduced in
thank you.
Australia.
Yes, and it, after 3,000 years, nature chose it to go away. Why did you bring it back? Or if it came back on its own, then you have to search for the reason. Scientists are researching on bringing the mammoths back or the saber-toothed cat back. Like, nature chose it to go away.
I know.
Why? Why are you trying? And then what? As humans, we do. I was reading it, and it happened in Banaras, in India. What happened that someone threw a fish which is native of South America. It's called the sucker shark, and from
Hmm.
their aquarium, because it was growing big, or maybe they were not much more interested in that, they threw that in the river Ganga, and they bloomed there. And scientists said that we have found it in a smaller size now, but if there are much more bigger, it's gonna destroy the entire ecosystem there in river. And so this is what we are doing. Then I saw a video of goldfish, a pond which is full of goldfish. There was a girl, she wanted a goldfish, she got it, and then she got bored. She threw it in a local pond of her locality. After a year, there was no other fish or no other creature in that pond. It was full with goldfishes,
Wow.
lakhs of them from one.
It's like the Burmese python in Florida. These are
Yes.
called invasive species, and unfortunately, we have been less than intelligent on while handling species. Very, very unfortunate, because many native species have been wiped out by that. Um, uh,
How do
Paul, if you
we?
look at
I'm
sorry,
going to introduce somebody. I don't mean to interrupt you. We got another guest who beamed in.
we
Someone who has her own show on Monday mornings, a lovely inspirational show. It's Win Charles, and she wants to join us. She got so excited listening to us last week. She goes, "I'm coming next week." Uh, it's a little bit early for Win. She's a couple hours ahead of behind us, but she's beaming in to say hello and join our spiritual talk. Good morning, Win.
Hi guys, good
Hi.
morning.
Hello, Wayne.
Yes, I got so Kim is right. I got so excited by what you guys were doing last Saturday. I told and Kim, I said, you guys better give me that link because I didn't talk. No, and I was listening. I've been listening the whole time. The only time I go to the office to go jump in the shower, but I think that today being World Mental Health Day is a fascinating subject, and world mental health could affect anyone and everyone. I happen to have a physical disability, which is a neurological disability, which is cerebral palsy. And so I have been doing counseling here in Colorado for about a good year now because I strongly believe in seeing someone when you have a problem. And I even put the national suicide hotline in my show notes this morning of my personal podcast. So, Kim, maybe you can stick that in the comments, or and Ken, if you're out there, maybe you can stick the National Suicide Hotline. But I have a question for you, the chief, and Cora. Pardon me if I pronounce your name wrong, and Cora, but I know how it works in the US. Kim and I both know how it works in the US. How does it work in India? Do they have a national suicide hotline, or can you just walk into a counselor's office? And that's what I want to know.
So when there are many helpline numbers, but unfortunately they do not work on times, or they have working hours defined that from morning 9 to evening seven
Yeah.
o'clock you can give a call.
Okay.
There are government has established couple of counseling centers, but again, seeking for help, especially for any mental label and especially for depression, it's a sort of taboo and people do not like to talk about it. So here on IBM TV, we always say to take a pledge that even if you are suffering from any mental label, and I loved it how each one of us on IBM TV we share our own stories that we were in depression or any other mental label and how we came out of it. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. I was a depression patient. I took medicines for 1.5 years. So what? I'm here. I recovered from it. And same Rakeshwar has shared his story, and we talk about it very openly here. We are just trying to do our bit so that we all have a place to go if any one of us needs something.
Yeah. And I'm happy to share my story with how I got involved with counseling because I want, I agree with you, Emma, and with you, and Kim, that I want this taboo about mental health to stop because we're now in the age where telehealth is most prevalent. You can call friends. You can actually get help from friends if they're close to you. You can get help from podcasts. You can get help from anywhere. But all in all, and as you guys were saying earlier, do something away from screen time and do something away from the news and do something away from the do something with mental health that is away from the news and away from the every which way. You guys were talking about lavender bushes and avocado trees and lemons and limes and all that and rose bushes. It started out with rose bushes, and I agree with you, Kim. The deer eat my flowers as well, so we're not lucky enough to have little old mindless hedgehogs, but we're lucky enough to have deer which end up eating the flowers, and so I'm on team flower that eats that has deer eating them. Yeah, munch, munch, munch. And speaking of lilac bushes, um, we plant them ourselves. If you got a lilac bush, it we plant themselves. I have a lilac bush in my backyard that the deer ate, unfortunately. but it was very beautiful. But as I was all kidding aside, I want to say that you guys need to do something away from YouTube. And I know that YouTube has put together a playlist for National Mental Health Day. If you go look um, at YouTube's channel, if you type, I'm on Chrome, and so at the bottom of Chrome today it says, "Look at what YouTube's doing," and and then YouTube will do a full-on YouTube video. Plus, they have a playlist, and I'll grab it for you guys. I'll mute my mic and grab it for you guys
Okay.
so that.
One of the things is to understand the statistics of a problem as well. And Rakesh, can you share with us what you just said about New Zealand?
Yes. One of the lovely things about New Zealand is that they're very aware of mental health issues. And of course, it's everywhere in the world there is that stigma because there's always the legal side. Am I going to be legally invalid? But we have a good support system in New Zealand, even though on occasion I found the suicide lines, I couldn't access them. So when I was, feeling low, um, the issue is that it's a country where there are a few rich people and there are a lot of very poor people. It also has the lack of the middle class that used to be there. So that's what people who have used to a certain lifestyle then find themselves not living that lifestyle. They get depressed because depression comes out of inability to control your circumstances. So, and that frustration turns into this depression. That is why even in a place that's as close to Eden as you could imagine, a country like New Zealand, we do have 25% of the people who have mental health issues. It is such a high number that people are not shy about revealing the fact that they have a mental health issue.
Wow. So that's interesting that a country has taken on the at least the ability to be aware, right, and acknowledge that there is a problem. 25% is pretty high. That's 1/4 of the people. And that's horrible. To reach out to a suicide line when you need it and it's not available. I mean, that has got to be one of the worst feelings ever, I'm sure. I mean, even I've had to reach out for help. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Just say that. We all kind of stammer on that because I guess I grew up where I was told, don't ever go to a psychiatrist because people will think you're crazy. I taught my kids, always go to a psychiatrist so that you don't end up crazy. So,
one of my classmates is a very good psychiatrist in India. But before that, before I knew that, and before I saw him grow into that, I was told, don't go to a psychiatrist. They're mad and they'll make you mad. This is the kind of attitude.
during
So
COVID,
sad.
I know. During COVID, Ankin and I, we kept hearing from the doctors, their biggest concern wasn't the economy going down. It was people's spirits going down and worried about the mental state. And some countries put in some extra resources for this, but it's very difficult to do that in a rush because you might get crazy people involved with it, or people who are not, I shouldn't say crazy, people who are not qualified. But one of the things Ankin and I did, even though we're not qualified, we opened up the doors to people to say, hey, reach out to us. If you're stuck in a situation, if you just need to talk, sometimes it's just having somebody there to hold your hand and listen and not even give advice or anything, just listen because they cared enough to listen. And I kid you not, when Ankin and I did that, we were getting messages from people from all over the world. I mean, just, hey, can you help me? I'm lost. I don't know how to find this, or but it was just the fact that it felt good that they reached out. It felt I learned a lot. I learned about what people's real concerns are in other parts of the world, concerns that I would have never had. And go, wow, I would have never had that. I've learned so much. But it doesn't hurt just to open up your door and say, I'm here. And I saw this in an ad last night on TV. It was an advertising that they're saying, don't don't sit at home and be alone. There's the phone, right? And Dr. Sagu says that all the time too. Use your phone, but also don't sit there going, what can I do to help people? Open up your door, reach out, make that phone call. Even if you think, well, I don't want to bore them, I don't want to worry them, make that call. You'll be surprised that you might wake somebody up and make them feel good, and that makes you feel good. I mean, I got a call during COVID. Somebody reached out to me, and but it was something that happened years ago, and they said, "Do you know because you made that phone call, you saved my life?" What phone call?
Yeah, it is amazing, how that makes a difference. You're quite right. I'm pretty certain that person spoke the truth. Uh, Even for me, I had a friend who's now become one of my closest friends, who stood by me when I was in my low period. And but you have to reach out. If you don't reach out, you cannot survive. That is part of your genetics, that you have to reach out. You know,
Yeah, and it's going to be a two-way conversation always, Rakesh sir. And as Kim is saying that you do not have to be a qualified person, but then you should have the ethics also not to missell yourself.
That's right.
Because I have seen a lot of people suddenly from a fashion blogger or from something else, they suddenly become a life coach or a psychologist or a counselor or something like that. Their bio on the Instagram and Facebook suddenly changed during the COVID because they see an opportunity where they can grow their businesses. But you think that if you have a heart issue and you are going to a skin doctor because the skin doctor says that he's a cardiologist, what will happen to your heart?
Right. It's just, you got to get,
And
and many times I tell people, I'm here to listen, but I'm going to tell you, you should go see a doctor. You should go talk to. The best thing I ever did was go see a psychiatrist. The second best thing I did was go see a pain psychiatrist when I was suffering with my disabilities, the uncertainty of what could happen one way or the other, the decisions doctors were making. um, I went to see what they call a pain psychiatrist. And that changed. I tell people that was the best thing I did for the amount of pain I have to live in and every day. Because people will say, well, you don't look like you live in pain. That's because I've got mental help on it, right? I did more than just the physical aspects of it. And Rakesh, you hit the nail on the head. We just have to do it. And
yeah,
Coach Mark, we just have to do it. Wynn, you've got a story to share. You want to share?
Yeah, I do. Speaking of, we just have to do it. I was in a situation after my father died, and my dad got a degree in psychology. He didn't believe in psychology, but as I was dealing with him dying, I decided I needed to go, and I knew this, I needed to go see a psychologist for my own mental health. And I told my stepmom and stepsister that I need to go see someone now. And um, many months went by. I got angry that I took my anger out on people. Let's just put it that way. Turns out, turns out that I needed to go see the end result was, again, I needed to go see a psychologist because I was getting angry because of the loss of my dad. And so my point being is when you say to someone, I need to go see a psychologist the first time, they should listen to you. Listen to
Exactly.
you. And it's, and then ever since, and I've been seeing that psychologist every single Thursday, and uh, it's helped. But my point being, and I'll repeat my point, is if you feel like you need to go see a psychologist, don't hide it, and tell don't tell a person once, tell a person twice, tell a person 3 times, tell a person 4 times, tell a person 5 times, and then don't make that person say to you after you've told them, I need to go see a psychologist. Don't make that person then turn around and say, you need to go see a psychologist after doing X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And um, grief is a form of depression. Thank you very much. I was in depression, aka grief, for the past 10 years, and I have slowly gotten myself out of it. Thank you for seeing and seeking out mental health, but don't tell a person at once, tell a person 50 gazillion times that you need to go get help, and then one of those 50 gazillion times they may help you, but other than that, you need to get other people involved too, and then have them help you and have them give you step by step instructions if you're that type of person. Okay, we do this, we do this, we do this. I'm I'm that type of person. I like to know step by step what we're doing, and because I don't handle change well, especially when your both of your parents pass away very unexpectedly. I don't handle change well. I like to know the steps of, okay, we do this, we do this, we do this. But you've got to let people listen to you, and you've got to repeat it 50 gazillion times, especially in a time of COVID.
It's and you know, you
Uh,
bring something there. Go ahead, Rakesh, because I think
yeah,
you've got a good
yeah, I
point.
think you're absolutely right. You need that persistence to seek that help because that is your survival. That is your genetics kicking in for your survival. You need to first, identify the problem and then do something about it. So you're spot on. Persist till you get the help that you need. If it was a physical disease, you would do that. So why not with a mental disease?
And you know, that's the thing that we need to say. When you see something that needs fixed, it's easier to say, I need to go fix it. You know, like you cut your finger, right? And you put a band-aid on it. But spiritually or mentally, we don't see it. That's a disease that can't be seen usually until you're making a lot of mistakes, you're breaking down and crying, and you know, just a lot of things. Somebody one time said this. It was a veteran of war, and he said, "Just because you can't see my disability doesn't mean it doesn't exist."
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. What he was saying is his disability is deeper inside here, and people weren't respecting him for it because he wasn't in a wheelchair or missing body parts. And so people didn't respect him for the disability that he was suffering with. And you know what? We have another visitor, a guest, who's joining us who can actually, we all know and love Dr. Sagu. Hello, Dr. Sagu.
Yeah, hello, how are you?
We're having our spiritual Saturday talk, which is very important to keep our spirits uplifted, to keep our health up, right? Mental health is very important for all of this. But how are you doing today, Dr. Sagu?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. So share with us what's going on in your world today.
Just the routine surgeries we have started. It's the morning from the evening now. Just came after doing a lot of surgeries.
So you've had a busy day?
Yeah, it was a busy day for me today.
Are things pretty much, do you feel like things are in a more stable situation with the COVID crisis?
It looks stable, but it is not stable actually. So we are getting a lot of patients. Now the families, they are coming positive. But yes, when whether it is a corona or something else, when the thing is old, then we don't respect. So now the respect for the COVID is not there in our society. So the problem is this now. So that is why the patients are taking very, very loose and they are not taking care of them. But yes, definitely the COVID is a very variable presentation. Sometimes to someone it is not saying anything, but to somebody it is a very, very brutal. To somebody it is a very, very severe. Somebody it is going just coming and going. So there is a variable presentation we have seen. So that is why we are not taking seriously. And now the result is that the more and more number of the patients they are coming. But the good thing that the recovery is good. The patient they are recovering very well because the lot of things has come now. A lot of alternative therapies have also come, like with Mr. Trump also we have seen the monoclonal antibodies. So the antibodies is also coming out now. It is becoming a good optional therapy for the COVID.
So, just like any other pandemic or virus situation, like the flus, back in many years ago, once we get an understanding of how to treat it, that's very important. Our fatality rates drop down. The overload on the medical profession is reduced. So that has helped a lot. What are some of the things that you're finding? Because what we're seeing now is treatment. Right? Treatment is preventing the fatalities. We understand. What are some of the treatments, like you said, the antibodies, that they're doing for the success rate of recovery?
Yeah. So, there is no proved treatment for the COVID, but yes, alternative therapy we can say just to decrease the severity of the disease. We are trying a lot of things. These are not the newer things. These are the older things. These monoclonal antibodies we are using for a lot of things, even for the cancers also, for psoriasis also. Tocilizumab is the type of antibodies for which the trial is going on in India. So actually, this drug is an antibody. It's an antibody. It has been already been used for the psoriasis and a lot of other conditions also. So the same therapies which has been used for the other things, now we are trying for the COVID, and at some places for some patients they are coming very good. They are decreasing the severity. They are decreasing the symptoms. They are decreasing the progression from the mild, moderate to severe conditions. So these all things they are helping us. The God is very great to us now.
Well, that's and I think it's because we've been due diligent, and the doctors, thank you so much. The doctors have stayed with this. They didn't give up. You guys have endured a lot of challenges.
Thank you so much.
You've lost loved ones. I am so sorry that these things have happened. The sacrifices that the doctors and you have made. You even are a recovered patient from COVID. So, you understand what people are going through. But again,
now the scenario has changed actually. The thinking process of our healthcare workers is also has been changed dramatically. So initially in my OP clinic, the patients were coming, and if the patient was positive next day, we were postponing the surgeries. But yes, we were quarantine all the staff for 5 days or 6 days. I mean, there was a lot of things being told about that patient, but now a lot of patients they are coming positive. Last week, so many patients they came positive, but now we are just postponing the surgery for 2 weeks. We are not doing anything. We are doing a deep cleaning of the OP clinics, but all other guidelines we are following, but we are not shutting down the OP clinics. And now I think yesterday the guidelines has come even for the COVID positive patients, because they were sealing their homes also. But from today onwards, I think they stopped putting a seal on the homes for the home quarantine. So they are just merging with the normal people. I think that is good also. We can take care of other things. We can keep the patient under isolation, but we will not be, socially isolating all those patients because they are recovering well.
And like you said, we're finding a balance, but we don't want to overwhelm the medical industry with too many people at one time that are sick, because we've got other things we have to take care of, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
COVID
yeah,
is your first, of course you're helping with all of that, but this is not your first medicine to take care of. You've got other patients and other problems,
yeah.
to make sure that we eat right and stay healthy and
Yes, yes.
take care of all of the other problems that we need to be focused on. But one of the
Yeah,
things I like about working with you, Dr. Sagru, is when you talk about all of the things that you take care of, they are actually elements that help protect us with COVID, not protect us from COVID, but help our bodies build the immunity to fight these things.
yeah,
And that's what
yeah.
you're.
I would again, I would say that if we can practice all those good things, if we can have a good practices, we are following the good practices like increasing your immunity, taking care of yourself. I think we are decreasing the burden on our healthcare workers. We are
That's
decreasing the burden on our healthcare system. This is not the matter that we are overwhelming regarding the healthcare system. We have lost so many healthcare workers. We have lost lot of so many doctors, because I would say that fatality rate is more in the doctors as compared to the normal population, because the type of infection they are getting, their viral load is on the higher side, because they are staying in the hospital, they are meeting the multiple patients, they are meeting with the severe patient also, they are meeting with the mild patients also. The normal population, they are meeting only the mild patients. If you are going to the market, you will not get the severe patients. The severe patients will only approach to the hospital, and all those healthcare workers, they are, I mean, they are forgetting their families, they are forgetting their kids, children. They are just helping all those people who are severely sick. And when they are getting infection, they are contracting infection, then they might, go on the wrong side. They might have a severe complication. And a lot of healthcare workers, they scammed because of that. A lot of nurses, they scammed because of that, because of severe infection. So I would like to thank all those healthcare workers and all those, I mean, medics or paramedics, or maybe the from police or somebody. I mean, among all these frontliners, I think the doctors and the nurses and the technician and the lab staff, they are more prone to have, they are more exposed to the severe type of the complications.
And I think you're right. We need to do things to support the medical profession right now. We need
Yes, yes,
to we
yes,
need to help you guys. This is what we need to be asking ourselves. What can we do to help
yeah,
you win? That's what we
yeah,
need to do. We need information from you, but what can we do ourselves to make it sure you win? We've been discussing this. If you're sick, stay at home, use the phone. We've got
yeah.
telemedicine down, right?
Always the first line defense we should be following, that we are following since February. So we should be keeping all those, we should be following all those measures which we are taking. I mean, if you're going, you go with the mask, right? You make have some important distance, 2 meters distance. Hand hygiene is very important. Clean your hands, proper follow the good hygiene. So that is the first layer of the defense, that we should not be getting infection. But the second layer of defense is there. If you are getting infection, the impact of the infection, in fact, impact of the virus should not be that much severe. So that comes your immunity. If you are preparing your body from inside, even if you will get the infection, that would be milder. And I think if you can keep yourself at home and the home isolation, and if you're not being requiring the medical assistance, if you're not requiring the ICU, intensive care unit, that is good for you also and good for your healthcare system of your country also. You are, I mean, you are helping your healthcare worker, you are helping your doctors, nurses, medics, and paramedics indirectly by getting only the milder infection. So my request for all of, I mean, all the viewers of IBM TV is we should be maintaining first line of defense, then second line of defense, and the third line of defense also. Third line of defense is when you are going into the hospitals, please, there also you should be following all type of measures. You should not be talking to your healthcare workers, to your doctors. You should be maintaining distance from the doctors. At least you can save them also, because now you will go after recovery, but you will be coming to the same doctor for other things also in the future, because the doctor is not a COVID specialist. The situation has made him or her a COVID specialist. And later on also, they would be treating your diabetes, they would be treating your hypertension, they would be treating each and everything for which you are going to visit the hospital again.
And I agree. And you and I, we always talk about our foods, right? Make them
Yeah,
colorful, right?
yeah,
This time of season, my
yeah,
watermelons. I've got 4 more on the vine. Hopefully, I'll get some watermelons before the frost hit. But
yeah,
eat healthy. I mean, your profession is teaching us how to get rid of the high risk
yeah,
of being obese, and how we can become healthier. And by doing that, we support the medical industry. And that's what we want. We want to support the doctors so that we don't overwhelm you, so that you can take care of our other needs. I've got other needs. This is why I tell people when COVID hit, I'm like,
yeah,
oh, goodness, how am I going to get my other care? Right?
yeah,
My doctors are so busy taking care of this, I'm not going to get the other care I need. And so
yeah.
people don't understand that COVID isn't the only thing that exists.
Yeah, again,
Um,
eating, yeah, healthy eating is very important. Then
yes.
healthy drinking is also very important. Then healthy sleeping is also very important. Then healthy physical activity is also very important. So all these things, they are very important. If you can boost up your immunity, then definitely you can help yourself and others also.
And that's what people need to understand. It's just disciplines, little disciplines. It doesn't hurt you to wear a mask if you're going out. You might prevent the spread. It doesn't mean you're going to, probably prevent yourself from getting it, but you can help prevent a massive spread, right? Still sanitize our hands, right? Stay
Yeah,
clean, still
yeah,
distance. Um,
yeah,
we have proven all of this prevents massive spreading, and that's what this has been about. All of these people who are out there who don't really want to be team players, they're not
yeah,
listening. They go,
yeah.
oh, because, they're not listening.
No, not even for the COVID. I mean, these type of the good practices has decreased the infection rate of other things also. Even the dengue, this season is a dengue season for India, so dengue is not coming that much. Even the other normal flu is not coming that much. Influenza is not that much, because if we are practicing the good habits, then definitely we can decrease the number of other infections also.
Yeah, and I agree. We need to be a team player. This is
Yeah,
If everybody would just be in it to win it, right? Everybody just a little bit more. What can we do to win this together? We need to
yeah,
unite on these ideals. Instead, people have decided to be opposite, and defiant about it, rather than, hey, what can we do to win? What can we do to join together, to build the resources and unite the people, so that we have a peaceful
yeah.
going forward, right? So we have
Yeah,
Namaste, right?
yeah,
So
make a chain of the good practices to break the chain of the COVID.
that's right, right, because we can break it, and this is what I told people: we never found a cure for HIV, but we learned to live with it, right? We learned
Yeah,
how to prevent the spread. We
yeah,
learned how to treat it,
yeah,
but we learn to live with it, and that might be something that we have to do with COVID, because there's so many different strains. We've got the flu coming in, which that's another overwhelming situation for
yeah,
the physicians, and so we just need to work together. I mean, and when we work together, we unite together, we build a better home, we build a better house to live in, and
yeah.
um, and a healthier house, right? And so that's all it takes. So,
Absolutely.
what is your favorite food of the season? What are some things that you're eating right now?
So we are eating watermelon. That is the
Okay.
favorite one. Yeah,
Yep.
watermelon is good. Then the grapes and papaya is also good. So all these types of fruits we are eating, and this is the season of all these type of the fruits also.
Yeah, our season foods have changed, and so this is more of the roots, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but of course, greens grow really good this time of year.
yeah,
But so a lot of greens, which are really good and healthy for you.
yeah,
The carrots, beets,
yeah.
just
Beans and carrots. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's a good season for that. Pumpkins are really popular this
yeah.
time of year. That we truly enjoy finding different ways to cook pumpkins, and we actually
Yeah,
I don't know.
all type of gods. I think you would be having the ash god also. So
Yeah,
ash god, pumpkin, they are good.
yeah. And have you ever had pumpkin seeds? Have you ever tried
Yeah,
those?
yeah. They are very good.
Yeah,
They are
and
very good.
and it's like eating if you season them well, like with a little bit of cinnamon or some of your favorite seasoning, it's like eating candy, right?
Yeah,
It's really tasty and healthy. So
yeah,
and these are things to help reduce your obesity, and like you said, hydrate. I found out I wasn't hydrating enough. I listened to what you said to look for, and so I've been forcing myself to drink more until I can see that my body has changed. That
yeah,
I, you know,
yeah. Hydration is a very good benefit of for all these fruits and vegetables. The other thing is they have a lot of fiber diet. So when you are eating the fiber diet, then it keeps your small and the large intestine very healthy. So then your digestive system becomes very good. Lot of minerals, lot of the vitamins are there. So all these fruits and vegetables, they are very healthy.
I love oatmeal. Like this is again another season, but I love oatmeal, which is high in fiber, right? But there
Yeah,
are so many different ways to get high in fiber, not just through oatmeal. You can get high in fiber in vegetables and
yeah,
fruit. So it's all about a mindset, right? It's all about healthy mind to feed a healthy body to stay healthy.
yeah,
Be a team,
yeah,
work together, don't work apart, unite on this mission. Ask yourself, what can you do to help the doctors? And
yeah,
it's just something as simple as just wearing a mask so that we don't spread it faster. Again, people change your mind a little bit. It's not, yeah, we know a mask isn't going to prevent you from getting it. It's just going to prevent us from spreading it faster.
yeah,
And that's be in the team, be part of the team to win. Join the doctors, listen to them, what they have to say. That's what I when I go visit my doctors, I ask them, what do you want from me? What can I do to help you? Right? And they go, just keep doing these practices. Wear a mask when you need to, right? Don't spread this disease faster. We know it's there, we know how to treat it, but don't and I go, okay, that's easy, right? So and that's what we can do. What are some other good things that you're because you work on other things, not just COVID? What are some other things that we could be aware of um, coming moving forward to get our bodies healthy? Some things that we can do to get our bodies healthy.
yeah. In this COVID time, I would say that we should be controlling up all type of disease, whether it is a diabetes. The diabetes is also very bad. If you have uncontrolled diabetes, it can have an impact on all type of your organ, from your, you can say, from the eyes. It can affect your heart, it can affect your kidneys, it can affect your sexual system, it can affect each and every part of your organ. So if you're suffering from the diabetes, you should be keeping the diabetes under control. All type of nerves can also be involved by the diabetes. All type of the vessels also can be involved by the diabetes. So we should be controlling all type of disease. Then hypertension, if your blood pressure is not under control, then it may affect your vessels, it may affect your heart also, it may affect your brain also, it may affect your eyes also. So these type of the chronic disease which has to be under control. If they are not under control, definitely they are going to damage your organs, and there would be a multi-organ failure.
And then that's something that we have to take into consideration too. Is the people who
Yeah,
are at high risk, like diabetes, asthma. There are just so many other conditions. Crohn's disease. People don't
yeah,
understand some of these diseases
yeah,
that affect the body, and all we have to do is just be aware and be on top of what we're trying to do and take care of. We have another guest that's joining us, and you know
yeah.
him, Lynn. Hi. Namaste.
Namaste.
Lynn, what
Len,
do
how
you
are you?
5 and 5? Oh, Lynn,
5 and 5.
here,
Yeah.
5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Lynn, you're muted. So, but
Sorry.
one of the,
Other, we were talking about the digits. I think the two digits, they are very important. Two, I mean, I would like to say three digits, they are very important, which we are not considering as a digit. Number one is your obesity. Obesity, no one consider as a digit, but it is a digit. Number two is your sleep pattern. Sleep pattern, if they are not good, it is also a digit. And number three, stress. So all three digits has to be taken care of. That will boost up your immunity also. That will increase your defense system, your own defense system, that is immunity, and it will increase your work efficiency also.
that's something because you had said this before, just start taking care of yourself a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And sleep. I can't reflect enough on how sleep can heal, right? Is sleep is very, very important. You're right. When I get the right amount of good sleep, I feel better, right? It you got to get that sleep in. You got to hydrate. When I'm not hydrated, I have this weird hungry feeling, like a little dizziness when I'm not hydrated. And I
Yeah.
find that if I drink a lot of water, that weird dizziness goes away, So again, take care of yourself, sleep, get lots and lots of sleep. Um, just think about these things, right? Be considerate about what you're doing and putting in your body. Exercise. I find
Yeah.
if I'm not moving and keeping my blood pumping, I get sluggish feeling, right? And then I don't sleep well, right? Lynn, how do you? I mean, you got to exercise to be able to sleep well, right?
Well, unfortunately, I think I play tennis, and I wrenched my knee about 4 weeks ago. So that's an issue. I can't play tennis right at the moment, and I actually now going to go back and see a doctor. But I was out cutting the grass this morning. Okay, running the blower and doing what had to be done. Um, and I just I love working. We work in the garden. That keeps us active. Um, and, you know, besides that, I chase my wife around the house. No, I don't do that. But I would like to have asked Dr. Segoo, and I saw he had to leave, and that's because I've had blood pressure issues actually since first event was when I was 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
And it sort of went away and then came back in my late 30s. And I've been on blood pressure medication literally for over 40 years, or just about 40 years. And so, as long as my blood pressure is being controlled, I'm wondering how COVID would affect me if because I do have a blood pressure issue, or anybody that does. I mean, a lot of people, it's interesting because my mother always had low blood pressure. And then as she got older, she started to develop blood pressure issues. And it seems to be something that goes with age. It happened to my wife about 7 or 8 years ago. She was always borderline low, almost falling asleep because it was so low. And then all of a sudden one day, she had higher blood pressure than I did. And yet she's only 100 pounds, in great shape, and so it's sort of interesting because a lot of us, those of us who are older, I think, and friends of mine I talk to, we all have blood pressure issues. So maybe next week, and unfortunately, I have a Zoom right before I come on here.
Right.
So,
it's hard to, I know. And Dr. Segoo, he did surgery all day. So he beamed in just for a quick visit to.
Maybe you can ask him for me. Maybe you
Well,
can.
let's do it next week. Let's put it on our call to action that we'll even tell him we would like to talk about blood pressure next week.
Right.
And then you can beam in and talk to him about your blood pressure thing, because blood pressure has a lot to do, I think, with our energy. Like you said, if it's too low, you feel like you need to sleep all the time. Can we control our blood pressure? One of the things that I have been blessed with is a good blood pressure. All the problems in my body and all the things that have happened to me with all the medications that they've given me over the years and stuff like that, for some reason, I have managed to maintain a good blood pressure. As the one thing, one time it tested high, and it was a doctor that I'd had for 30 years. He goes, no, something's wrong here. So he came in and tested it himself, right? His nurse did it. He goes, no, something's wrong. This isn't him. And he comes in and he tests me. He goes, oh no, something's wrong. He goes, all right, what were you doing before you came here? And I said, well, I was talking with my attorney. And he goes, fire him now.
I was going to say eating pepperoni. That'll do it too.
Right, eating pepperoni, anything salty, right? Anything salty.
Sure.
And I've had those moments where my head, I hear the ringing, and because they say you can hear a little bit of ringing sometimes. There are symptoms that you get, and I have felt them from eating the wrong foods. I really have. Or when you're just really upset about something. But in most cases, I generally have been blessed with that stable blood pressure, and I don't look forward to the day my body changes, because I'm told that the body will change and I might have to go on medication. But hitting the age limit that I'm hitting and not having to have done it yet, I feel blessed. But
well, when you turn 40, you'll be okay. You might notice it then.
40. Okay, thanks. I'll remember that. 40. You hear that, Chris and Kelly? They, when I turn 40, that's my sisters. When I turn 40.
So I've had my blood pressure under control because I take medication.
Medications,
okay?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because also my daughter-in-law, the one that lives near you, has blood pressure issues. She and my wife both have taken one of the same medications I take. I take two. And the interesting thing is they both had very significant reactions to them where I didn't. So lisinopril, and
Yep.
you can talk about that, but they had itchiness and stuff like that. And knock on wood, I've had that. I've been taking lisinopril for years, and not had any issues with it. So, but there are lots of different ways of controlling blood pressure, and so the question for Dr. Segoo next week is, if we're in control of, or one of the other doctors on Friday, if we're in control of our blood pressure versus being out of control with it, how does COVID affect that?
How does it benefit us by being in control of our blood pressure with viruses like COVID? Because we know that they go after high risk. Does being having blood pressure issues, does that make you a high risk? And I've heard similar about the blood pressure medication causing other symptoms for some people, and they cannot take it. So how do we control it? Because some people say it can be manageable. For some people, it just can't, though. I know people, they exercise just like you. They're out there exercising. They don't eat bad, right? In relevance to everything, but yet their blood pressure still just isn't controllable. And like you've been taking it all these years, and it's done good. So the benefit way outweighed any risks that were related with it. I think, and I hate saying this, but I think that the older medications were probably better in many ways. I think we get too rushed. They may cut corners. So I think some of the newer medications might not be as beneficial. But I've taken medications that the doctors can't understand. Actually, they've written side effects because of me.
Really?
Yeah, they literally put me into a room for 3 or 4 days and kept injecting me with the different variations of the same medication. You have the generic brands and everything going, there's no way. Nobody has this side effect. No way. And finally, my family goes, you can't test her anymore. You're done. We're taking her home. Because they would give me the medication and then have to inject me with the side effect solution.
Wow.
They didn't offer to be this guinea pig. They just never seen the side effect before. So at first it was like, oh, we don't believe this. And so they had to put me in the hospital because of it, right? Then they go, well, we don't believe this. Can we try again? We don't believe this. Can we try?
Wow.
But I ended up being part of one of the disclaimers of statins.
Yeah. So when they start doing some of the ads, instead of, they talk about the benefit of the drug, and then they go through the litany of all the things that it can cause, what they really ought to do is say, they just start the litany and say, well, Kimberly Calhoun had this, and Kimberly Calhoun had this, so this might affect you. But apparently you're the person.
Well, just for that one drug. It was so funny because I'm like, oh, so this is how you guys get the disclaimers. Yep. And it was so funny because I didn't know, but fortunately I didn't die from it. But people have, that's how they get most of the disclaimers is they don't know the results of every medication with every human. They don't. And every human DNA, every human that race is different. I have learned that the African Americans, because their DNA is slightly different, that some of the vaccines that we've given them have been more dangerous to them than to a white person, or a Native American Indian has different DNA. So yeah, I mean, but you're lucky to have, and that's a good question about blood pressure, because blood pressure affects more than 45% of our country.
I think it's a lot, and one of the issues, of course, is if you don't treat it, high blood pressure can cause strokes, and that's of course obviously very serious. But the other thing, and my grandkids talk to me about this, is they wonder if my blood pressure problems cause stupidity. But that's my grandkids.
But here's what I tell people. Things like high blood pressure, it causes and creates such high stress in your body. Think about something running at an extremely high level, like you put the gas down on your car and run the engine at high level all the time at a perpetual basis. You're going to stress that engine out. Well, the same thing is with your body. That's what blood pressure is, just at a high push down on the pedal, constantly running. So of course you're going to stress out all the elements in your body. The tubes that connect the organs are going to get stressed out. The just like anything else that builds pressure, right? When you build pressure on something and the steam blows out. So that's why some people, it may look like that they're angry, right? Because the pressure's building up and you don't feel good, right? So so taking good care of your blood pressure is probably one of the most important things you could do. It's simple. A lot of pharmacies that you go visit have the blood pressure machine that you just go and sit down and put it on. You probably don't want to do it with COVID, but because you don't want, you want to make sure everything's sanitized, but you can get a blood pressure machine for home. It's very simple to do. Do you have one?
Yeah. And actually the interesting thing is, sometimes they don't register exactly the way they should. So what my wife did, actually, she took it when she went to the doctor, and they compared it to what the doctor's cuff did, and we were able now to, and it's pretty consistent, see that on the systolic, which is the higher number, there's a slight variation. So when we take it, we just know, subtract 5 points on the pressure, but then take it frequently, which, by the way, I don't, and I should. But
in our house, it sits out in the open, so anybody can do their test daily. If you're due diligent, like some of the engineers in our family, they're going to have a little notebook, a lab book of their own results, which I'm so proud of them. But we try to leave it out in the open, like I do my fruit, right? I know if I keep my fruit in the refrigerator, nobody eats it. But if I sit it on the counter, it gets devoured, right? So because it's sitting out in the open. So put the tools out where everybody can use it. It's not attractive. It's not like a flower centerpiece, but it gets the message out, right? But, these are just simple little things, maintaining what your blood pressure is every day so that if you need to go get help, change your medications, just simple little things. And if you're doing these kind of things, then you're going to be doing other things to take care of yourself, right?
Sure.
Like the proper things. But one of the things that get my blood pressure on the rise is when I have to spend too much money, go shopping during COVID. And you take care of these things for me, Lynn. You make sure.
Great segue. Oh, love the segue.
You make sure that my blood pressure stays down because I'm saving money. Because you know what?
Right.
One of the things to get the blood pressure running in my household is when we spend too much money
Very
on
good.
items that you need every day. And the other thing that I noticed, the whole country's blood pressure was up when we didn't have toilet paper. And guess what? The Family Dollar store made sure we could buy toilet paper and not go to the store and spread the disease. The other thing that the Family Dollar store took care of is you brought us masks at affordable rates.
Right.
Okay? And there's sanitized gel, and you also made sure I could buy my anti-wrinkle cream affordably,
Yep.
like $60 cheaper, affordably,
Right.
and I can get it delivered. And so again, you're bringing my blood pressure down. You're
Well,
making my blood pressure.
That's the most important one.
Oh, you make me happy. You got
Yes.
the minion napkins.
Your minion napkins.
Well, because one way to keep your blood pressure down is
Yep.
to be happy.
Oops. Do I have them upside down?
That's
Oh,
all right. They're funnier upside down. But the thing is that laughing brings your blood pressure down. Okay, it really does. They have proven this time again that if you could just take a deep breath, calm down, and laugh, it actually brings your pressure down. Think about it. But all of these things bring my blood pressure down, brings my family blood pressure down because we're getting the items we need in our house. I'm not
Right.
sitting there going, oh dear, I'm not going to get soap. I'm not going to have, whatever items I need. But then you got other things. You've brought in food. You take care of Mark Lee with the cookies and Nick with snacks.
Yep.
But all of these things, we don't have to go shopping, and shopping can drive your blood pressure up. Okay, driving to the store in the traffic. Somebody called me the other day. I guess they haven't seen traffic in a while, right? And they're going, "Oh my God, I'm sitting in traffic. I don't know what to do." I'm like, it's been 6 months, hasn't it?
It has. It has.
But I got to stop by the store. I got to do. Why are you stopping by the store? You can go online and buy anything you want, almost, except for the grocery store. I got to go get my ice cream and stuff. But
Yeah.
but you guys, the Family Dollar store, you do our 5 things. I'll let you talk about the 5 things while I pull up the site.
Okay.
Share with us what you're doing.
The first is pay your bills and save money. Okay. When you shop, save money. The second is invest the money. Okay. All right. Now, wait a minute. Am I getting this correct? Oh, yes. So I'm missing one.
So let's do this together. We want to budget our money. So how we spend it, right?
Yeah.
How are we spending it? Then the way you spend it, you'll be able to save it, which we're going to have financial literacy classes. Actually, they're being prepared to how to save money. But you want that money working for you so that you're not sweating. So you want to invest it. And there's a difference between saving and investing. But we have to pay our taxes.
Taxes.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yep.
In any country that you live in, there are taxes. That is called your due diligence. But when you have managed everything well, you're going to keep the economy circulating by paying things forward, right? That's going to make you feel good. It could come back to you, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a church that you paid forward. It could be paying forward some items to people who lost items in the fires. It could be paying forward to people who are in prison that need items. It could be helping somebody start up a business. Or it could be sending grandma a box or a loved one who's sitting at home so they can open up a box of really cool supplies like the anti-wrinkle cream, or maybe they need toilet stuff. Or, what I find is interesting is these wipes, right? I love wipes because they can be individual. Let's see if we can find them. Lens wipes, right? To clean your lenses.
Right, sure.
But there's just so many things. The other thing that the Family Dollar store has that a lot of people don't have is the CBD products and supplements. I think you've also gotten in other supplements that are healthy for us to help us build our immunity. And that's the one thing I like about the Family Dollar store online is when we needed something, they brought it to us. So, but you know, you're a
Well,
big,
not hammocks. We didn't get hammocks. Mark,
not yet. We're
Mark
waiting on that. Hey, you know what though? I bet that you can get the macrame cord, so we can make our own.
oh, you can make it. Yeah.
Right. So maybe you can get the supplies, the beads and the macrame cord and the hooks, and we just make it ourselves. That would be fun. But some of the CBD products, I know that you're a big fan of, especially the pain patch, which has lidocaine in it, which I know works. You add CBD to it, it's going to relax you more. I'm going to give you guys a little secret here. CBD actually will help relax you and de-stress you and get rid of because the way you get lines is when you're stressed all day and you're frowning, right? And those frowns become permanent wrinkles, just like a shirt when you wrinkle up a shirt, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not stressed and crunched up and wrinkled, and you're relaxed, which CBD actually helps you do, I'm not going to say 100% you're going to not get wrinkles because there are other things like hydrating. You need to hydrate yourself very well.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is you're going to reduce your stress wrinkles, right? You're going to reduce because you're relaxed, you're calm, you're not tensed up and frowning. And I'm not going to frown because I don't want to put a wrinkle there. But it's the frowning that brings all of the deep wrinkles in. But hydrating, you got to hydrate. But some of the good things that you guys bring for us, are right here. They're healthy for you. These are healthy alternatives. I bet these are really tasty. I haven't tried them yet, but and you keep 2 seasons. You've got name brand baby items, and you know what? Unfortunately, our hour has ended. But I just want to tell people that lower your blood pressure by shopping at the Family Dollar Store. Whatever you buy right now, the Family Dollar Store is honoring 100% of our agreement, 100% of what our agreement is instead of 50%. They're giving us 100%. And that's doing something good because we are literally putting together financial literacy shows, like real learning educational shows where you're going to sit down and learn how to save money when you sit there and you're going, there's no way I can. We've got a guy who's going to do that. So make sure that you shop and save, watch our shows to learn how to make your money work for you, and pay forward. It's a win-win right now. And I want to thank everyone for watching Spiritual Saturday, where our goal is to help reboot you every week, make you feel better when you get ready to go for next week's, because I guess we still work on a 7-day schedule, but I like to reboot on Saturdays and just feel better. We hear from Dr. Segoo. We learn and reinforce what we need to be doing to win this. We got to be a team to win this. And then thank you, Lynn, for bringing us the Family Dollar Store so we don't have to get our blood pressure up and go shopping. And we can keep our blood pressure down by shopping smart. And, all of these wonderful things, we just need to say thank you. I want to thank all of the viewers who are watching IBM TV, who have been sending us questions, keeping us motivated and on our toes. I want to thank all of the producers who bring us all of this smart TV information. And you know what? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Lynn.
And God bless.
God bless.